To begin, welcome to our deep dive on indexed universal life policies and whether they make sense as an investment. In this video, we will evaluate how IULs work, why they are often marketed as powerful wealth builders, and why many young adults are better off with low-cost index funds instead. We will also cover the safest path to exit an IUL if you already have one, and where to redirect your money. Finally, we will test your understanding with short quizzes and wrap up with key takeaways. Next, this content is for educational purposes only and does not constitute financial, legal, or tax advice. Your circumstances may differ, and insurance policies have complexities, including surrender charges and tax implications. Please consult a fee-only fiduciary advisor and a qualified tax professional before making any decisions. Now let's clarify what an indexed universal life policy is. An IUL is a permanent life insurance product with a cash value component whose credited interest is linked to an external index such as the S&P 500. It usually features a floor to limit losses and a cap that limits gains, plus participation rates. However, the policy also deducts internal costs, including administrative fees, cost of insurance, and agent compensation. As a result, the real-world growth of the cash value often underperforms straightforward, low-cost index investing over time. Moving on, here is our roadmap. First, we will explain why IULs often disappoint as investments. Second, we will compare IULs with low-cost index funds. Third, we will examine costs, caps, and the mechanics of underperformance. Fourth, we will outline how to exit an IUL safely. Fifth, we will discuss where to invest instead. Finally, we will include brief quizzes to reinforce your learning. First, IULs often disappoint because internal costs significantly reduce the amount of premium that actually earns interest. The credited interest is subject to a cap, for example 6%, which limits upside during strong market years. Additionally, most IUL crediting methods do not include dividends, which are an important component of the S&P 500's long-term total return. The cost of insurance typically increases with age, creating a growing drag on cash value performance. Finally, the complexity of policy mechanics can obscure true returns, making it easy to overestimate performance versus a transparent index fund. Furthermore, when comparing IULs to low-cost index funds, the contrast is stark. IULs impose caps, participation rates, and floors that limit upside. They carry internal costs such as administrative fees, mortality charges, and commissions. They typically do not credit dividends. They can include surrender charges and opaque performance reporting. By contrast, low-cost index funds offer full participation in market returns, including dividends, with very low expense ratios and transparent, easy-to-track performance. Additionally, separating insurance from investing preserves clarity and control. Consequently, the typical IUL structure involves capped returns and excluded dividends, combined with internal costs such as administrative expenses, mortality charges, and commissions. This complexity, together with surrender charges, often undermines long-term performance. By comparison, a low-cost index fund provides uncapped market exposure that includes dividends, minimal fees, high liquidity, and greater transparency. Within a Roth IRA, qualified withdrawals can be tax-free, making it a strong long-term vehicle for many young investors. Moreover, this mind map guides the decision of whether to keep or exit an IUL. It begins by asking whether you actually need a permanent death benefit. If yes, it considers optimizing the existing policy or exchanging to a more efficient product. If no, it points toward exiting the policy. Next, it evaluates surrender charges and your tax basis. If there is a gain, a 1035 exchange to a low-cost variable annuity may defer taxes. If there is a loss or minimal charges, a direct surrender may be more appropriate. The map also reminds you to secure replacement term coverage first if you have dependents or financial obligations. Finally, it directs you to build an investment plan using a Roth IRA or brokerage account with low-cost index funds, while noting exceptions such as high-income situations, estate planning needs, or specific riders that might justify keeping a policy. After that, follow these steps to exit safely. First, accept policy ownership if needed and request an in-force illustration. Second, ask the insurer for your immediate cash surrender value and a breakdown of surrender charges. Third, determine your tax basis, which is typically the total premiums paid minus any withdrawals. If there is a gain, consider a Section 1035 exchange to a low-cost variable annuity to maintain tax deferral. Fourth, if anyone relies on your income, secure a term life policy before canceling to prevent coverage gaps. Fifth, stop automatic payments and submit a written request to cancel. Sixth, redirect the recovered cash to a Roth IRA or low-cost index funds consistent with your plan. Finally, confirm all documents, retain records, and monitor confirmations. Now, quiz time. What is the primary role of insurance in a sound financial plan? Option A, aggressive wealth creation. Option B, protection against financial risks. Option C, maximizing market upside with caps. Option D, tax arbitrage via policy loans. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is B, protection against financial risks. Insurance should primarily serve to protect against loss, not act as a primary investment vehicle. Keeping investing separate improves transparency and cost control. Next, consider prioritizing tax-advantaged accounts, such as a Roth IRA if you qualify. For equity exposure, low-cost total market or S&P 500 ETFs such as VTI, VOO, or ITOT are common building blocks. For balance, investment-grade bond funds such as BND or AGG can reduce volatility. Implement a disciplined, automated contribution schedule through dollar-cost averaging. Maintain a separate emergency fund to ensure you are not forced to liquidate investments at an inconvenient time. Now, another quick check. Before canceling an IUL, which step is most critical? Option A, ignore taxes. Option B, secure term life first if you have dependents. Option C, only compare caps, not fees. Option D, skip checking surrender charges. You may pause the video now to consider your answer. We will go over it in the next section. The correct answer is B. If anyone depends on your income, it is crucial to secure replacement term coverage before canceling the IUL. Additionally, you should review surrender charges and your tax basis to avoid unpleasant surprises. In summary, IULs combine insurance and investing in a way that often underperforms due to caps, participation limits, excluded dividends, and internal costs. Young adults without dependents typically do not need permanent life insurance. If you already own an IUL, consider exiting by determining your immediate cash surrender value and then redirecting funds to low-cost index investments, ideally in a tax-advantaged account such as a Roth IRA. Buy insurance for protection and use index funds for growth. Finally, the path forward is to separate insurance from investing, avoid high-fee capped return structures when simpler options exist, and follow a deliberate exit plan if you need to cancel an IUL. Confirm all steps in writing and invest consistently over time while controlling costs. This approach increases transparency and potential long-term results. As a final note, thank you for watching. If this video clarified IULs for you, please like, share, and subscribe. Tell us in the comments what surprised you most, whether you have an IUL story to share, and what topics you want us to cover next.